What's your biggest regret from your teenage years? So determined to impress my classmates that I would stretch the truth so I could brag about myself. Now I realize most of them saw through it. If I could only go back, I would slap some duct tape across younger me's mouth. At least you, hopefully, left that behind in your teenage years. Lotta adults out here still trying this cringe move, and while it's embarrassing at 15, it's just deeply, deeply sad at 35. No, this is a bit too relatable. I wish that I had taken mom up on her offer to teach me how to cook during those teenage years. It would have been so helpful, both during college and beyond. It was a missed opportunity because she's a great cook and a natural teacher. If she's still alive, do it now before it's too late. If she's not, take classes. I sent my husband out to Asian fusion cooking. He makes the best butter chicken on the planet. And you know what? It was all firemen and policemen. He loved the class. All the responsible people on this thread wanted to be more irresponsible, and all the irresponsible people wanted to be more responsible. HMMM. The grass is always greener on the other side. Because it is fertilized with bullshit. I don't think anyone had enjoyed their teenage years enough to never regret parts of it. It's an unwritten rule to cringe at the teenage years. That I didn't spend more time with my parents before losing them. Mom when I was 19, dad right before I turned 26. I'm sorry. That's so young. Hope you're coping okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing better these days. Took some time to grieve. Things changed when I thought about a quote from a TV show. If you mean something to someone, if you help someone, or love someone, if even a single person remembers you, then maybe you never really die at all. Now I try to share memories about my parents to the people in my life so that still live on in some way. Cowardice. I was so unsure of myself and awkward. I know that all teenagers struggle with this, but as I look back now from my 40s, that kid in high school had so much going for him, he just didn't know it. The more he cared about fitting in, the less he fit in, and the worse people treated him. Girls were like an alien species and the future was terrifying. But it didn't have to be. I can totally relate. I'm barely out of my teenage years, but I specifically really regret that I turned down romantic relationships. I was such a coward about it. I cared more about how people would perceive me dating someone than actually dating that person, if that makes sense. I wish I hadn't cared about what people thought and just given those relationships a chance. I can also relate. I got a girlfriend somehow, never asked her out cause I was nervous, but it just kinda happened. Dated for like 6 months and somehow never kissed her. I think I hugged her and held her hand a few times. I was 17. I cringe a lot when I think about it, but I was just so anxious about social stuff I was too scared to do anything. Pro tip, girls aren't actually all that different from guys, especially in the ways they think. If I could go back and talk to that kid, 1, I'd talk myself hoarse explaining things to him, and 2, he wouldn't listen to a word of it. Being mean to my mom. If it's any consolation, I'm a mom of a teenager, and preparing myself for this inevitability. My teenager is not intentionally mean, but he is used to having adults around that talk some smack, and I give him some gentle shit as well. He gives some right back to me, and sometimes it comes out rather harsh. He still loves me though, so if I call him out for inappropriateness or the like, he will usually apologize. I just hope he doesn't get much more surly with me. The important part is treating him like an actual person and not treating him like a young kid. Eldest child in my family, so I could see this firsthand. When my parents treated my siblings like rational people growing up, they'd still be dicks, but they'd be measured with their sass. When my parents treated them like little kids and ignored their feelings, they'd come back with 10 times the amount of sass or would rebel maliciously in more discreet ways. This programming stuff is cool, maybe I'll learn it one day. 10 years later, I'm just getting started. Man, if I had 10 years of experience under my belt right now, I would be set for life. The best moment to start was 10 years ago. The second best is today. Godspeed to you. Good for you for getting into it. I am currently a junior in college going for Comp C with a focus in cybersecurity. I was previously a business major, but since switching I have become super excited about the field because of the growth and opportunities available. Cliché, but I lost a lot of friends due to excessive online gaming. I kept refusing to go out with them and socializing in general. Plus when college hit I didn't know how to talk to people and how to make friends. Ongoing process. Going through this RN. Please let me know what steps helped you. I was having this problem for most of my life. I lost friends because I spent so much time playing video games to cope with shitty things going on in my life. The thing that finally saved me was when I acknowledged I was addicted and treated it as I would any other. For me, the game was TF2. I uninstalled it, and I uninstalled Steam. I was able to quit and it helped me so much. It got me into music, reading, and a lot more. I'm still dealing with the repercussions now. I lost a lot of friends from it. I wish I had taken more risks. I worried about getting in trouble too much. I missed out on some fun because of that, and tried to play catch up when I was 19, which led to me going a bit too hard through my 20s. I'm okay now, successful and doing well. But there's lots of things I did in my 20s that I might not have done had I got it out of my system in my teens. I'm just lucky things turned out okay for me 31 now. This is what I came here for. I'm 26 now and doing better, but took 19-24 to realize I was wasting my life away. Caring about what people think of me too much. I spent the entire time basically being who I thought everyone else wanted me to be. Interesting. So did you change? Are you the person you want to be? Absolutely. I stopped caring what others thought and just started being myself. I found a dorky husband who is just as authentic to who he is. When I was 14 I poured ketchup on our back porch and laid down with my head next to it right as my mom came home from work. She came outside screaming and I laughed. She beat me with her shoe and I was grounded for the weekend. Now that I'm a parent I realize what a real dick fucking move it was and the terror she felt. I used to hide from my mom when we were shopping. Especially in clothing stores where I could hide in the clothing racks. Apparently I just thought it was so funny to watch her freak out looking for me. I also look back and think I was a real dick. At one time, I used to do this to my wife. She wouldn't freak out, because I'm too big to kidnap, too ugly to traffic, and no ransom would be worth keeping me around, but she'd tell me to knock it off. I had to stop doing it when we had a kid. Because our daughter thought it was funny, but any fears of her being taken were more valid. Lol, I was changing my mom's oil once and found this old rubber eyeball from some Halloween party we'd been to in the glove box. It was super realistic looking. I came inside going like "Aru. OW" and holding my eye. My mom is like, "What happened?" and I slightly open my other palm with the fake eye. She flips the fuck out. I laugh and throw the rubber eye at her. She looks confused then furious and started hitting me with an oven mitt while my sister is falling off the couch laughing. Another time, we were shopping at this discount grocery store and she found this gallon jug of Ernst & Julio Gallo wine on sale. She's like, "Oh, this is a great cooking wine," and puts it in the cart. We get to the check stand, the checker scans the wine, and I blurt out, "Mom, are you coming home tonight?" My mom looks at me, horrified. The checker looks at me, horrified. My sister, without skipping a beat, says with a completely straight face, "The neighbors are starting to ask some embarrassing questions, sis, and I didn't even plan this. We're just that good." That's hilarious. The second one was pretty cruel though. Not doing more productive stuff, and drinking too much. It was fun, but sometimes it was very unnecessary and could have done lots of stuff with that time. Also more sex. I did the opposite. I studied a lot, made good grades, etc. But I realized later there were all these parties going on that I knew nothing about. Maybe because I was a nerd and wasn't invited, I don't know. I did the same thing in college. Now I wish I'd gone to a few more parties and talked to more girls. I accomplished a lot by working for my classes all the time. But I wish now I'd had a little more balance. Getting that girl pregnant and becoming a father at 17. Also, the self-harm. How's the young lad, lass? It's complicated, to say the least. He turned 23 in late December and I've got no idea how he's really doing. I talk to him now and then but the conversations always end up him asking me for money. If I do help him with some funds he will come back and ask for more the next day or so. If I ask him how he's doing I've got no way of knowing if what he tells me is true or not. He's more or less a compulsive liar. He got diagnosed with ADD when he was 7, but I've always suspected it's more than that. Probably a combination of Asperger's and something else. One theory is a slight retardation coming from his birth where he got stuck for a little bit and didn't get any oxygen. His life has been ups and downs ever since. I decided right away that I wasn't gonna be a typical teenage dad, so I made sure to study and become something. She decided to become a typical teenage mom and now has, at 40, 6 kids with 4 different fathers. She has worked for 6 months of her life. This of course has had a deep impact for our son. She decided, when our boy was 7 and supposed to start school, to move to another city, 5 hours away. My contact with the boy, of course, became harder, but I went there and he came to me to visit. Then after a few years, it turned out she had been abusing alcohol and pills, and possibly our son, for a long time and made sure our son wouldn't say anything about it. When the secret was out, he moved to me and lived with me for 4 years. After that time he moved back to her and our contact became sporadic. She's been telling him that I wasn't there for him when he was little, which is a lie, and that I've never cared and so on. So, yeah, complicated. That's fucking shit, man. I'm really sorry. My relationship with my dad was kinda similar, and my mum bended the truth to make it seem like he was a horrible person. When I turned 25 he reached out to me as he was literally dying. I was completely surprised and thought he wanted nothing to do with me. I was wrong. He thought of me every single day of my life. I regret not knowing him. I'm not saying push your boundaries or anything, just wanted to share a perspective from the author side. Honestly, being more proactive on my education, I could have gotten a scholarship but I thought getting scholarships were pathetic and was so prideful about it. I didn't know shit back then but I'm kicking myself now with so much money I put in when I look at my 1098 ton tuition forms for the government. Breaking up with the nicest guy halfway through final year of school. I regret breaking up with him in general but also it ruined what should have been an epic time of our life. Since we had all our friends in common it just sucked. Lots of awkward behavior at parties, drunken yelling, crying and that's just what he was doing, never mind me. My sister had cancer and it really affected my relationship with my girlfriend. Sometimes I would just shut down. I really wish I'd handled myself better because she and I were really in love, and I think it was the main contributing factor to us eventually breaking up. Don't beat yourself up over it. Having a close loved one passing can fuck your mental health up hard, especially as a young teen. Edit. Grammar. I've started playing online games and waste time on YouTube other platforms when I was teenager and I keep wasting my life there. I want to spend less time with a computer, do stuff I raw, but I don't know how to get rid of this addiction. I've been addicted to online games since I was like 11-12, developed a terrible posture and hadn't had many friends IRL and didn't came around a lot. Quitting was really hard. The thing that helped me was moving out from home and starting to study. Having something to do and being in a setting with people in your age helps a lot. It's already 4 months since I touched it the last time. It's really important not to grieve for the things you missed out. Try to visualize what you want and take the steps that are necessary to reach this. Here are some examples you could do. Try to find something you enjoy doing, like going for a run or doing any other sport. Also you should try to leave your apartment at least once a day and try to socialize with people. Just greet friendly and smile. Look around which activities can be done in your town and just go there. It's gonna be awkward, not gonna lie. But eventually you will find something you like and meet some nice people and have an awesome time. The first steps are important. Don't give up if it won't work at first. Good luck, my dude. It's really worth a try. Don't take for granted what I said, it's just my personal advice. Just because it helped for me doesn't mean it works for you. I just shared my story with some advice that could maybe work for you. It's not a shame to seek for professional help. If I were given the choice now, I would have done it as well. Sorry for my English though, not my main language. Being the secret side piece for the popular guy in high school. I was an outcast and didn't have a lot of friends. He was the star football player and everyone wanted to be him. He was in my algebra class. He asked for my number on a note. I was super naive. He only ever wanted sex. We would either meet up somewhere at night or he'd come to my house when my mother wasn't home. We would quickly do it and then he'd quickly leave. And then he would pretend he didn't know me at school. Worst decision ever. That makes me sad. I hope you've been able to move past that and have good relationships. I eventually did. I just got engaged to the love of my life in December. Not spending enough time with my mum. She passed away when I was 16 and I wish I had done more with her. I am just transitioning into my adult years now, turning 20 this year. I know I'm still young, but this is a decision I made about 3 years ago and I think about it every damn day. It haunts me. I grew up with this girl named Sydney. She was and still is her absolute dime. Anyway, she had a massive crush on me from elementary school all the way up to high school. One day, junior year of high school, she invites me over to her house to watch movies. Up until after this night we were always just very close friends. We talked nightly and always met up in school. This night kicked off our relationship. We went to parties and just had a great time together. We were dating all of 2017. 2017 was such a great year for me. I was at her emotional high, felt unstoppable. Fast forward the very end of summer, like 2 weeks before senior year starts. I'm working on my car diagnosing a problem. She calls me with plans for tonight. I say something along the lines of, "Yay, sounds great. I'll meet you at your place." Hour goes by and I'm still working on this car. About 2 hours later I still am tracing this problem. Towards the end, our relationship had some smaller problems that bugged her and I now admit also bugged me. I always played everything cool, never was the worry type. Anyway, she called me breaking down, saying how this is the last straw. She's crying and can barely speak, saying how she doesn't want it to go down like this, but it did. She broke up with me. Not being the worry kid, I blew it off and kept working on my car. School starts. I see her. We had study hall together. I get home, think about what I wasted. I have just threw out the most beautiful and real girl I have ever met. I get launched into a deep depression. I was a laughing fun type kid, but I became a empty shell. I didn't talk, never smiled. To this day it's kind of the same. At work I'm the happiest and the second I get home I'll lose all motivation and lay down and think. As of late I've been losing my mind thinking what we could have been. I've seen her since we graduated. She is gorgeous. She moved 2 hours away and attends college while I'm in our hometown working a arguably good HVAC job, but to me it's just a job. I feel hopeless and empty. I've gotten better but I'm not the same. All I wonder if she thinks of me. We were friends from 3rd grade until we graduated. After we graduated I've seen her once. I haven't been in another relationship since then. I've had things with girls but somehow I end up hurting their feelings in some way, so now I just prefer to be alone. This is the first time I've admitted this. I've considered seeing a therapist. My family doesn't know this is why I've been so quiet and empty. No one does. To anyone who read this whole thing, thank you. Sorry for making your feed depressing. Seeing school as a joke, skipping class, smoking weed, making fun of the nerds. I got a good job with a decent pay, but sometimes I wonder how my life would look if I had studied more. I'm glad you got lucky, since most people who do the same end up getting hit hard by the consequences later. Not going for the girls I liked. Looking back I can't believe how many girls I thought were out of my league I ended up having success with once I found my nerve. I'm not a super handsome dude either. I think it's just a matter of confidence. Not trying to get the best grades in school that I was capable of. It was the 60s and 70s. I literally can't remember turning in any homework. I brought sci-fi books to school and read them during class, with the textbook held in front. I half listened to the teacher while doing this. Got B grades in most of my classes. if I'd actually applied myself. Drinking. I became an alcoholic at an early age, relished in the thought of it's so cool to be a 17-year-old alcoholic, lost so many jobs, jail fines, friends and burned bridges with family. Coming up on 3 years clean now, but damn, if I could go back in time, that is the one thing I would change. Hanging out with the wrong people. And making my mom's life even more difficult. I regret that one the most. Oh man, I have so many. Allowing my abusive stepmother to isolate me from the other side of my family. Acting like a psycho nice guy to the girl I had a crush on. Staying in an unhealthy relationship for a couple years too long. Hiding on my computer all day instead of being social. Not coming out and transitioning earlier even though I knew I should. My teen years really sucked, and I got so depressed over my parents telling me they were the best years of my life. I'm 30 now and life is 1000x better. Hanging out with the wrong people fascinating. Could you tell us more? Why were they the wrong people and why do you regret hanging out with them? I've learned that one lied to me for several years. One actively tried ruining my life behind my back. I got threatened to beat up by people that I didn't even know. They however knew exactly who I was. They knew my name, my friends, anything. I have no clue who they were. Having anxiety issues, it made me hate the town I am living in. It helped moving away for 2 years and changing schools. I didn't dare to go out and finding new friends. I'm nearly 27 years now and still have trust issues when getting to know new people. I barely can believe they actually like me and want to be my friend. I'm pretty sure those years made my mental health issues worse. I do wish I would have known better people. I didn't learn good things based on those experiences I made.